Good
There we go.
afternoon, Miami sports fans. Welcome back to the Miami Sports Break. It's been a while since we've been here. Wanted to recap everything that's going on in the world of Miami sports and welcome you back. I know it's been a lot of talk, obviously, about the Dolphins draft. We're going to jump into that. I know Jaccare is very happy about the direction the Dolphins went in the first round. So excited to see your takes on that and everything else that's going on. But before we jump in, want to mention one of our fantastic sponsors here at the Five Reasons Sports Network. Biscayne Bay Brewing, great local sponsor of all the Miami sports teams. Check out their new display at Marlins Park as well. You can find them in your area at biscaynebaybrewing.com/beer finder. What's good, Jaccare? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. Feels good to be back. Uh, it's been probably about 2, 3 weeks, I want to say. So
Yeah,
it's feels
exactly.
good.
Took some time off.
Yeah, feels good to be back. In the swing of things, heating side of a crucial playoff push.
Hmm.
Got the Dolphins draft. Also, Bobby McCain was released earlier today. So
Hmm.
curious to see what's happening
Yeah. Oh,
there. A lot
we're
of
having some audio issues here. Is that you, Josh?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got some audio issues. Jakari's got some audio issues there. We're having a little technical difficulties. Let me see if we can bring him back in just a moment. But we're going to focus a lot on the Dolphins draft today. Obviously, Jock was very happy that they picked Jaylen Waddle with the number 6 selection. And I'm thrilled as well, not only for that, but obviously for Jalen Phillips, the Miami Hurricane, getting drafted at number 18. So it's going to be an exciting year for the Dolphins. I think the national media showed them a lot of love with ESPN and Mel Kiper and all the other analysts giving them really high grades here. So going to bring Jock back. You good there, brother?
Can you hear me?
Yep, we're good. All right, we're back.
All right.
So that's the beauty of live YouTube. You have some issues, you just move on through it. So, Jock, I want you to take a victory lap here, man, because I know you were talking about Jaylen Waddle pretty much since the jump. Everybody was obviously on Devontae Smith, and then Kyle Pitts was getting a lot of love. Penei Sewell, the left tackle. But you were pretty adamant that you thought Jaylen Waddle was the guy. So here we are. The Dolphins, maybe they were watching the Miami Sports Break and they said, you know what, that's a pretty good idea. Let's go ahead and link up Tua back with his wide receiver made at Alabama in Waddle. So give us your thoughts on that, obviously, what he brings to the table and how you see this receiving core overall with the addition of Will Fuller as well.
So to be honest, I just thought Jen and Waddle was just the best fit for Miami. Seeing what they lacked last season, what did they lack? They had no explosive playmakers. They had no guys who can separate from coverage, and no guys who can attack the seams. Tua's probably one of the best 4 vertical throwers in the league. Um, a guy who knows him best, Trent Difford, also made this same suggestion of Jaylen Waddle. I think probably a couple of weeks after I was going crazy about him, but so Waddle just made the most sense. It gives the Dolphins what they need. He's a weapon. It opens up the running game with him, Fuller, Devontae Parker. You cannot stack the box with 8 people because you can't leave a single high safety against that speed out there. So, even though they didn't get the running back everybody hoped they would get, and I hope they do take a look at Kerryon Johnson, who was just released by the Lions.
Hmm.
Overall, adding Jaylen Waddle, he's Weapon X. He's going to get some reps at the running back position. You'll see him in a lot of jet motions, jet sweep, orbit motions, moving him around a lot. He's not just a slot guy. He can play on the outside. If he reaches his full potential, I think he could be a better version of Steve Smith. Tyreek Hill, Steve Smith, Tyreek Hill is a fair comparison for him. So I just love what they did in the draft. They got 4 impact guys who were going to start. Alf reported that a while back on the 3 Yards Per Carry podcast and also on the Giraffe Show that Miami was looking to add 4 impact guys
Hmm.
in the top 4 picks with their first 4 picks, which they did. You look at Waddle, you look at Jalen Phillips, who I think who can be the best defensive end in that class. If he just puts it all together, no injuries or anything, he's going to be a double-digit sack guy. Javon Holland, the safety from Oregon, a very versatile guy, can play the slot, played a lot of deep safety as well. So I'm looking forward to him. And then you got
Liam Eichenberg.
Liam Eichenberg, the offensive tackle from Notre Dame. And as I tweeted when they first made the pick, which Notre Dame left tackle has gone to the league and been bad? None. You can't really think of no bad offensive lineman coming out of there. So I look for him to compete at the right tackle position, maybe guard, but we'll see. But overall, the draft was great, and the first 4 picks were, like Al mentioned, 4 impact guys who are going to be in the rotations of wherever they're at right away.
Right. No, I agree with that. I'm really excited about the Jalen Phillips pick. I've been saying for years that the Dolphins never really look at their own backyard for players. Like, you haven't really seen a lot of Hurricanes go to the Miami Dolphins over history and have any kind of success. So I'm really excited for what Phillips brings to the table. I think, as you call him, a war daddy. He's one of those guys. He's high energy. He really he traces back well to the football. Like, he's got a great motor. I'm not so much worried about the injury things. I think as a rotational piece early, as he acclimates to the NFL game, he's going to be one of those third down impact rushers. You bring him in fresh in that 8-man rotation up front, and it just comes off the edge. He's real nasty. He's got some good moves. He's going to probably build some strength as well in the NFL game to get a little bit more of a power rush game in his repertoire. But with Waddle and Tua, I think it was just one of those things that the offense as a whole with Waddle just is completely different now. And I'm also intrigued with the Hunter Long selection. I think that's kind of interesting for Mike Gesicki because he sort of does some of those similar things. He's a good pass catching tight end, obviously. So there's been some talk on Twitter about Miami maybe shopping him to Jacksonville with the Urban Meyer connection. That Meyer heavily recruited Gesicki before he went to Penn State. And they have a lot of running backs there that are very good, including James Robinson. But I'm not so worried about the Dolphins running back. I think they're going to kind of be that New England style offense where they got multiple guys situationally that are going to kind of come in and do their thing. There's no real clear number one back.
Dokes was a good pickup in the 7th round.
Yeah, I like him. He's a power back. He's good in pass protection. I think he's a sneaky good pick. But the thing about the Dolphins I like is that they took all this volume of picks and moved around the board a little bit to gain more quality players. They took 4, as you said, day one possibly contributors with those first 4 picks. And I think they're just really taking advantage of other teams' situations and really look at the Laramie Tunsil trade. I mean, that trade is going to be paying dividends for 3 or 4 off seasons and obviously into the following seasons as well, with just all the capital that one player turned into from Houston and everything else that's come with it. So, but what do you think about the Bobby McCain situation? Obviously, he was let go today by the team, and that kind of bodes well for your guy E. Rowe there in the secondary. So, how do you think? Obviously, Javon Holland now with Rowe and with the departure of McCain, what do you see with the Dolphins secondary right now?
Well, they're probably going to add another veteran back. Who knows? We have been linked to Malik Hooker. Some type of safety will probably come in, but I think Bobby McCain number was just too high, and that's not his fault because he earned that contract. So he was very smart player, getting everybody lined up in a position, know everything about the defense. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bobby is brought back at a cheaper number. So it's just a big loss. A team captain, guy who was very smart on the back end. So you got to hope that Javon Holland can pick up that, or Brandon Jones can pick up that, or Ero can pick up that, knowing what everyone is supposed to be on the defense to correct the small mistakes. So I just hope that Bobby lands on his feet, I think, because he's been a great contributor for the Miami Dolphins, has made a lot of big plays over the years. But I know if he's brought back, he'll be brought back ultimately to be that ultimate slot corner guy.
Yeah. And who do you think jumps into that slot role for the team right now?
Well, Nick Needham's going to start off there. Nick Needham. And only thing with Nick Needham, he's very inconsistent. He has games where he plays very, very well, and then he has games where he's just like, why is he out there? So hopefully he becomes consistent.
Yeah, no, I think the secondary will be all right. And obviously, with the addition of McKinney as well in the linebacker core, I'm really excited for this defense. I think the team is really starting to build depth across all positions. I mean, maybe they could use a little bit more depth in the interior of the D line and perhaps, 1 or 2 other pieces along the way. But I really like what they did in the draft. I think they kind of checked every box. I know people were screaming for the running back, but I agree with you. Doak's in the seventh round. That's a really good pick. I mean, that's a guy who's going to come in and have a chance to win a job and win a spot on the 53-man roster for sure. And you can't always say that for seventh round picks, but
And
I think
also, at running back, you never know what happens. It's you had a trade talks with the Jaguars.
mhm.
Lions released Kerryon Johnson. Kareem Hunt also always going to be
Even
one of the
Gurley,
top. Gurley,
Todd Gurley,
it's
buy
gonna
low on
be
Gurley.
yeah, it's gonna be guys out there who don't make the camp roster, who doesn't have a good camp, or who needs a contract and wants to be traded. It's just the way of the NFL. And would you be happy if the Dolphins, say hypothetically, picked up a Kareem Hunt, with a third round pick because he needs a
Definitely in a
contract?
second.
So
In a second, he's the best running back in your team immediately, and I think he could be a running back one. I mean, he's shown filling
no,
in
no, no.
for Chubb.
He's a running back run. He's just
Yeah.
and the thing is, the way of the NFL now, it's no true RB1s. You have your main horses, but
Mhm.
everybody runs pretty much a two back system. If you look at it, look at the Saints and Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray, even Dalvin Cook up there in Minnesota with the
Right.
Maddox kid who gets carries. There's only one true bell cow back, and that's Derrick Henry, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Or I mean, Zeke is pretty close, I guess, when
And
he's
Zeke
healthy
is
as
pretty
well. He's a
close.
high
Yeah.
volume back also, but no, I agree. I think Miami can get different guys. I mean, there's a lot of bodies in the running back room, so I mean, there's going to be some guys that stick around. There's going to be some guys. I think. Well, what do you think about the wide receiver group? You think there's going to be any moves made there?
Well, I'm sorry. Albert Wilson is not coming back. I think Allen Hurns won't be back. Jakeem Grant's a wild card. We'll see, but they only. Let's think about that top five: Waddle, Parker, Fuller, for sure. That's three.
Hmm.
Um,
Williams, if he's healthy.
Preston Williams, and who's your fifth guy? Jakeem. You think they keep six receivers? Jakeem Grant, Mac
Hmm.
Hollins is probably going to make the roster because he's a great special teams guy. So that's
Right.
six receivers. So, and I'm sorry, Lamb Barton will make the
Then,
team.
but
Yeah. So
well, he's a
six.
slash, so I mean, I think they have him designated as a running back slash wide receiver. So I don't know where exactly. You know.
And you still got Malcolm Perry as well. So
Hmm.
it's a
Right.
lot of guys. So I think Jakeem Grant, Wilson, and Hearns ultimately get cut in that free.
Yeah, the only thing that might save Grant is his ability, obviously, to return kicks. But I think that kind of the part of the NFL game is less and less important as time goes on. I don't want to put Waddle back there. You've seen what he can do on kickoff returns, but I don't think you put your franchise wide receiver out there personally.
Now you, you
So,
you just put them back there situationally. So situational punt return. Hey, we need a big play. Okay,
yeah,
Water, go out there. Let's see if you can make something happen.
yeah, exactly. But I don't think he's your time after time guy back there running back punts. I just think the risk is too high. But Waddle's a tough kid, man. I think what I really liked about him was him coming back to play in that last game, despite the fact he wasn't 100%. I think that really showed a lot of his toughness. And you got to think Tua had a big voice in that selection as well. I mean, let's not kid ourselves, but he had allegiances to both of those guys, him and Devontae Smith. But
I
I
mean,
know his opinion was heard in the situation. It could
it's
not be.
just who fits your game better.
Mm-hmm.
You may love Devontae, but hey, Tua is a more of an intermediate to short passer receiver.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You give
That
him the
7 yard slant's going to be nasty with Waddle.
you give him the ultimate guy who can eat up space in the middle, and Jaylen
Mm-hmm.
Waddle work the inside of the field, mismatch, can't put a safety on him, got to surrender the corner, opens up. What Tua? You see it against the Cardinals. Tua start hitting all them short intermediate passes, and then all
Mm-hmm.
of a sudden he gets in rhythm, and now he's throwing darts all across the field, can't miss. So it's the accurate distributor of football. If you look at what I said about the Drew Brees comparison.
Yep.
What did Drew Brees do for years? What did they make sure they surrounded him with? A for sure guy who can win within that short to intermediate. Marcus Colston. Then they
Mm-hmm.
graduated to Michael Thomas. Always had Reggie Bush. They always had a back or something out there, like in the slot, who can win. So it just makes sense. You get those guys what they need to be successful. See what you got, and then Let's see what this is all like. Tua has had an off season. Austin Jackson, these guys have had off seasons now to get
Hmm.
ready and prepare. So I expect them to be ready when they come in.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of year two leaps, I think, on this team. But I think the thing about with the Dolphins is like you got to temper expectations a little bit, let these guys gel, and not just come out and think they're going to win the Super Bowl immediately. But I definitely expect a playoff run this year on how the team is set up and with the schedule and everything. I think the schedule comes out on the 12th. We're going to see exactly how all those games are going to break down. I'm excited. We got an extra home game this year with the Giants with that 17th game put in there now. So the Dolphins are going to have the Giants as that extra home game, which I'm sure with the South Florida New York connection, that's going to excite a lot of people. So, but I want
And
to switch.
probably be back to about 100% capacity at some point. So
Yeah, no, it's things are getting better hopefully, but I know the Dolphins are a big proactive team in terms of fan safety, team safety, and everybody else with the supporting cast of the whole operation. So it's going to be a big summer with the camp. So with the full camp, as you mentioned, for Tua and his new weapons, along with the defensive side of the football, every position group is getting better, and you're starting to see those now moves by the roster.
they've improved at every position.
Mhm. By Greer and Flores just to kind of plug in the right guys. I mean, if they think they got guys that are better than Bobby McCain on the roster, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, McCain's a good player, but if you have other guys that have higher ceilings and you
Less
just move up the
money.
time to, yeah, and obviously the numbers matter as well. But speaking of the numbers, the Heat are holding on, I think, right now to the number 7, the play-in spot with the NBA playoffs right around the corner. So what a wild ride this year. This team has been like just a shell of itself in terms of the team we saw in the bubble last year, just on a consistency
Well,
basis. I think.
to even before we even give it out, we do have to get them a pass.
Yeah.
Because the Lakers are experiencing the same thing.
Hmm. A lot of
Injuries,
teams are.
yes, injuries, but the Lakers and the Heat were affected the most. You look at them, they both in similar positions. 7 seed, star players were out for
Hmm.
a long period of time. Then you acquire Oladipo, he gets hurt. So it's kind of they've been in the same. So I think those guys are battling, and to even be in the
Yeah.
7th seed right now, your body's tired. Your body is tired. They played 70 games into one. I know people are like, oh, it's 70 days, but hey, this is an NBA professional game, so the
Hmm.
intensity level is different than playing, high school when my body is not like at 36 years old, I mean, everybody can attest to this in life. You're not the same. So you don't know how hard it is for a Jimmy Butler, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Oladipo, for those guys to get ready to play a game. Like, the stuff that goes into playing. Like you look at Dwayne Wade's last season, how he had the ice before every game and stuff
Hmm.
like that. So you got to take an account for that. And those guys are still trying to lead a charge. You know what I mean? It's not like D Wade in his last season where he was coming off the bench. He wasn't really the main
Hmm.
guy. Like Jimmy Butler's the main guy on the Miami Heat.
Right. I think they're just trying to get there at this point and be as healthy as they can when that time comes, whether it's a play-in game or whether they're the 6th seed and they're just in automatically. I think right now they're just trying to just get through these next few games. I think they have to sweep Boston, and pretty much a couple other things have to go their way to be guaranteed. But nobody's going to want to play them in the play-in game,
That's
elimination
just,
game. I think.
and that's just like when people talk about the Lakers. Ain't nobody want to play the Heat and the Lakers,
Mhm.
playing game with. No, come on, man. Nobody don't want to see them teams. Even if I was a 2 seed, I wouldn't want to play a team like those guys in the first round. Why?
Mhm.
It's gonna be the
Right.
toughest out.
Yeah, exactly. The injuries I think have just been ongoing, and it's been such a grind for them physically, mentally, with all the challenges these last 2 years. I think right now it's just like kind of like the NCAA tournament. It's like just survive and advance, man. Just get through these next few games, get a shot, and kind of try to position yourself as well as you can physically to make that one final push and see how far you can go. But I think even if they're healthy, I don't know if the ceiling of this team is really past the second round at this point. What do you think?
Yeah,
Even the peak
it's too much.
2021 Heat team, where how
It's
far can they
too
go?
it's too much because the other teams are better.
Right.
Brooklyn's better. Milwaukee is better. They've improved.
Atlanta.
70. Atlanta. No. They can beat Atlanta.
No, but I'm
Uh,
just saying they're better though. I
they're
mean, Atlanta's
better.
better. Teams are better.
Yeah. And Miami plays. It depending on if Miami get the third seed and who I think that's Philadelphia right now, right? Because it's Milwaukee, Brooklyn, and Philly, the top three seeds, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, that'd be a tough matchup, 3-6 matchup.
Yeah, Sixers, Nets, Bucks.
Yeah, so
So yeah, and don't
ideally,
forget about the Knicks. I mean, the Knicks. As
Miami,
funny as it is,
Miami would beat them in a 7-game series, though.
yeah, no, I think they would beat the Knicks in a 7-game series too. But I mean, you got
It's
Boston and Miami have the same record. Those two games I think are kind of determine what happens. I think Miami
it's
has to sweep them both.
it sucks though, man, because look, it's like you had a break at that third seed last year because you could beat those guys. Now that 1 through 3 seed, Brooklyn,
Mm-hmm.
Milwaukee, and Philadelphia, that's gonna be a tough out. Like that's gonna be a gritty matchup. But I think Miami would take Philadelphia to 7 games for sure. But ultimately, I think Miami's too small for the 76ers.
Well, Embiid's at an MVP level right now too. I think he's just one of those guys that just creates a matchup problem. Even for Bam, I think just with his physicality, and he could pull Bam away from the basket as well. I mean,
Yep.
Embiid is a great 3-point shooter, so Miami's got matchup problems no matter what with any of these top teams. I mean, Kyrie is going to cook anybody on the perimeter, with Harden,
I
and then
will.
you've got Durant. I mean, just
Yeah,
those guys are just matchup nightmares
I will
across.
say this: if they get in, though, they have a better chance. Hear me out of beating the Brooklyn Nets than they do the Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay, I mean, listen, I don't think that's so crazy. I mean, it would have to be a grind it, old school kind of game. They'd have to
They
really
match. They match
slow
up.
that game down
They match up.
really, really
They
bad.
match up better with Brooklyn. Why? Because Miami has the win in the inside. Brooklyn has no good centers down there. Okay,
Mm,
that's Bam's territory, right? They have a multitude of defenders to throw at Kevin Durant. You're not going to stop him. They have a multitude of defenders to throw at James Harden. We're not going to stop him either. But you have a multitude of defenders. A healthy Miami team, a Miami Heat team, though. Check this out: Trevor Ariza, Jimmy Butler, Vic Oladipo, Bam, Goran Dragic. Your last 5, right?
yeah,
Think about
but I
the
don't think
switch.
Oladipo. I mean, Oladipo. I think it may be behind, like in the back of our minds, is going to be ready for the playoffs, hopefully, or at some point to come back from this whatever he's going through now. But I
Yeah,
just think Kyrie.
I'm saying healthy though,
Kyrie
healthy.
Kyrie is the X factor in those games. I think they could slow down a little bit the other two, but I just think Kyrie, at the point guard spot, at the point of attack, is the difference. Is the one who's going to
But
break down the defense.
if they're healthy, Miami got the 4 excellent defenders to throw at 3
Well,
guys.
there's going to be Iguodala will be out there a lot.
Iguodala as well. So you got a lot of defenders, so they will get him a problem. And Brooklyn is in the same boat. They haven't been healthy all season.
Mhm.
They have
Yeah.
Durant and Kyrie, then they have Kyrie James, then they have James
Hmm.
Durant. Like so, they
Right.
haven't been healthy. So I think Brooklyn will be an easier out than Milwaukee Bucks, just because Milwaukee and Giannis is playing, much better now. He's shooting the ball from the mid range.
Yeah.
So you got to give him a chance. But I give Miami a chance in the play-in game to make it out, and you have to get them a fighting chance in the first or second round anyway against whoever they play.
No, I mean, listen, I think Miami's battle tested, and you will see the best of the Heat in this last stretch. The last week, I think they're a tired team, but they're a resilient team, a proud team. And listen, Miami's always going to be that conditioned. We're the one going to be the last men standing, and that's kind of the mentality. I just think with the timing of a lot of the injuries, it's really hurt the
Yeah,
continuity on one side of the ball or another, depending on who's out.
that's why ultimately I really think, Dave, that the NBA championship is gonna be from someone we don't expect. Just because look at everything that's played out. The Lakers are not healthy. Denver Nuggets are not healthy, right? Then you go to the East. Brooklyn's not healthy, right?
Mhm.
I just think it's gonna be whoever's the healthiest team at this point, not who's the best team.
Yeah, no, and there's a little bit of a power shift in the Western Conference as well. I mean, you got Utah and Phoenix are the top two teams in the West right now. You've got the Nuggets who are good. You got the Clippers.
Yeah, but the
Dallas.
Nuggets not going nowhere without Jamal Murray though.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I just think there's a lot of similarities in the three, 4 or 5 teams in the West. I like Phoenix. I love what they're doing out there. They're a good defensive team as well. It's kind of like Miami West out there with the James Jones connection and
Yeah.
everything else. I can root for Phoenix a little bit. When they're not playing the Heat, obviously, and Devin Booker, he's having a great year. So I'm excited to see some of these, younger new teams, even the Knicks.
Yeah, I want to
I'm not
see
an
you
I
want to see them though. Like it's good for basketball. The New York Knicks are good.
Right, exactly. And like we mentioned, the South Florida, New York connections, and going back to the Riley and the '90s, the Heat Knicks connection. I like to see basketball in New York be good because it is the
It creates that villain like okay, the New York
Mhm.
Knicks like we want to go to the Garden and beat them.
Right, but they're a little more likable now, I think, than the old school Spike Lee back in the Anthony May. These Knicks teams are a little more likable. I
Yeah.
mean, Julius Randle is an emerging star in there. RJ Barrett's really good. They got some other good young players with Toppin and a few other guys over there. So, I think it's good for basketball to have some balance with these historically good franchises kind of coming back after long periods of being irrelevant. So I think changing the guard and look how bad Phoenix was for all those years. How bad Phoenix was. So it's good to see some new blood come in the NBA. But we're gonna wrap things up here before we go. Tell them where they can find you on social and everywhere else, John.
King Jock 24.
That's it. Until further notice, it's still King Jock 24. You can find me on Twitter as well, David W. Eversole, and on Instagram as well, MIA Sports Break. We're going to try to be back on next Wednesday and every week thereafter.
We're gonna have a special guest on Wednesday though.
All right, we got a big guest next Wednesday. Stay tuned. We'll have that out on social and let you guys know what's happening next. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you then.